Election denier Kari Lake has settled a defamation lawsuit tied to her unsuccessful bid for Arizona governor in 2022, according to media reports.
The settlement's terms remain confidential, but the Washington Post was the first to report the agreement between Lake and Richard.
President Joe Biden is preparing to send Congress an emergency funding proposal in the coming days, according to the White House.
The funding is aimed at addressing urgent disaster relief needs across the United States after a series of devastating storms, a White House memo revealed.
3 suspects, including an 11-year-old, have been arrested in connection with a series of armed robberies targeting convenience stores and gas stations in the Seattle area, police announced.
The suspects, a child, a 21-year-old, and a 19-year-old.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
We got a cup of coffee here, please.
All right. We can. Nah, it can't be.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
No, not really.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America.
What happened there? I said.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs
The hell
walking.
the hell is going
That's
on
right,
around here?
sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up
What the
comedy?
hell?
You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's
Not a
time
big
for
deal.
coffee
Already.
with a dog. You make me laugh.
You make me laugh. What the hell day is it? Doesn't even say what day it is. How am I supposed to know what day it is without somebody telling me what day it is? Via the calendar. We need a little more Don Sawyer on the show. Today's Don Sawyer. Yesterday's Don Sawyer was a mean pride guy. Good morning, folks. It is Wednesday, according to the Lion calendar. Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. Don Sawyer was on the program yesterday, and damn it, he gave me a little hope, and I should not have hope. Last time I had hope was 2 weeks ago yesterday, and look how that turned out. I don't do good with hope. And yesterday, Don reminded me of the Berlin Wall, and what a surprise, good surprise, in a very positive way that was. And that gave me a little hope. And then I was, I won't lie to you, it choked up a little bit after the show. I was going out to do some errands, and my agent called me about a gig that was on Sunday, and he was telling me it's looking good, man. He's like, I can't believe how much advance sales have gone on. It looks like it's going to be a packed house. I was like, I can't deal with hope. I'm not good with hope. But apparently people are trying to make me hopeful, and that's a bad sign. I don't know. Maybe I felt good yesterday having a little hope. Of course, during the night, it kind of dissipates a little bit. But we have 2 guests today. One of them is an author who's got a book out called Nuggets of Hope, and her website has the word hope on it more times than I could actually even count, because I could really only count to, I'm a musician, so I can count to 4, really. That's it. But it's like somebody's trying to tell me I should have hope. So maybe that's a good thing. Anyway, one I did not see or have Nazi. I did not see Nazi. That I would have on my 2024 bingo card, becoming a huge Scorpions fan, singing Winds of Change all day, thinking about the wall coming down again. But you know what? There is a reason to maybe. No, there is no reason to be hopeful. Forget about that. I was going to say there was reason to be hopeful. There's no reason to be hopeful. Everything's going to suck, right? Right? My headphones are loud in the background. Who's saying that? Stephen Ortiz is saying that. Well, turn your headphones down so you won't hear them. That's all I'm going to say. I could do this. How about that? That's better? All right, you little crying, little whiny fuck. I'm sorry. See, I had hope, but fuck you all. So Kim Langling, is going to be our first guest at 9:15, and in the second hour, Queen Elizabeth Croydon will be with us to. I don't know if she's still reeling from 2 weeks ago, but we'll talk to her. Maybe she's gonna have some like dirt to spill on Ron and GD. I don't know. Something about a lingerie store, sex toys. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the rumor mill, but rumor has it she's going to spill some dirt on the dog pound. Anyway, so we're going to talk about hope in the first hour and dogs and coffee because Kim Langling, she's not Chinese. She's have a name that sounds Chinese. She likes coffee and she likes dogs. So we'll talk about hope and coffee and dogs. In the meantime, go to Opus Clips Pro. Sign up there so that I get $1. I'll get $1 if you sign up there. Or no, that's not true. If 20 of you sign up there, I'll get $1. Yeah, nickel a shot. That's what I'm paying. I'm praying for it. Nickel. I'm gonna stand out on the corner with a cup as people walk by. Got a nickel. Got a nickel. Got a nickel. And 20 times, and then I still can't buy a cup of coffee. Anyway. Yeah, just making sure you know that tonight's show in Port Jeff is not scheduled. There's no music there on Wednesdays. Thank you for that. So I won't be playing in Port Jeff tonight. I just found out. Anyway, Opus Clip, check it out and go there. And then spend money. Spend money like there's no tomorrow, because there is no tomorrow. Bang, bang, It's a beast. Oh, what was that click? Oh, the headphones are too loud again. Maybe this commercial is a little longer than it really needs to be. Go to Open Clip. Money. That was a little awkward ending there. Good morning, fellas. In the room with me now are Ron Hopeful Kane, Stephen the Hopeful Ortiz, and what the hell is his name? Oh yeah, Pops Fenderson. That's his name. He's now officially Pops Fenderson. Good morning, Pops.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. First of all, thank you all for the well wishes of birthday yesterday. We had a great time. Thank you all for hanging out at my house. It was a wonderful evening. Thank you. Now, also, will the owner of a taupe rope who left this in my front yard, please come back and get it. I'll put it back in the tree where you left it hanging.
I think that was mine. I don't know how
actually,
you got it.
GD, my grandfather actually said he stopped by and he was going to help you pull your car out of the ditch, but you weren't home, so he left the rope for you. So Yeah.
I'm coming for you. My car's in the driveway. Thank you. That's not a ditch. It's even paved with asphalt. There is no ditch.
Wow.
He said something about an alibi, so that's all I know.
Well, there is an alley by my house. It's like
that's what he said.
9.
He said an alley with soft dirt, easy to dig, something like along those lines. Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you guys have hope? Do you really have hope? Hope?
Always.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you should be hopeful. 17 is the new 30. Things are different today.
17 is the new 30. What does that have to do with me? I'm like 65 is the new 55. 51.
Well, you're saying being hopeful, so 17 is the new 30.
God's coming for you.
And six is the new 0, because if my wife catches me with a 17-year-old, she's cutting off my dick.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. That's deserved. So yeah.
Hey, I made a
catches me.
I made a reel yesterday, and I tagged and I used that lady's clip, and I tagged her, and she thanked me for the clip, and it's not.
What lady? What lady are you talking
Coming
about?
for you.
Oh.
You got to hell, you and your purple husband
She
boyfriend.
thanked you, but you were making fun of her or using her. Or
I was using her video with another one, so she tagged. I might reach out to her again and maybe see if I can get her on the show, because I have questions.
That would be so.
Ron, you don't have to subject all of us to her. You could just call her.
Yeah,
ask your questions.
No, I appreciate where he's going here. I would do the same thing. I would try to get around him. That Clifford King still hasn't gotten back to me about being on the show. But along the same lines, I called Theo Von an imbecile, the world's biggest imbecile and piece of shit, and he thanked me.
Oh, that's fair.
The other day. So
well, I do the same thing on TikTok. When people tell me I should go crawl in a hole and die, I say thank you for watching and commenting.
Oh, well, in New York, I don't know if you know about this, but there's a lot of stabbing going on, random stabbing. And I just want to know how I sign up for that. I might just walk around the streets of New York hoping for that.
I would say if you keep meeting people in parking lots, you'll eventually get stabbed.
I don't think so. You haven't seen my neighborhood.
It's once, and maybe even with a knife.
Yeah, you don't know.
If you could get like these weirdos, like get like one a week, that'd be such a fun like weekly segment, like people of the internet.
Wait a minute. If I could get these weirdos, have you not watched the show?
Well,
are you not watching the show right now?
That level of weirdo.
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, big ass. Go, oof.
Yeah. So New York's got this stabbing problem going on. So I don't know. I might just risk it. I might just walk around. But then that requires hope. Again, now our first guest this morning has hope all over her website. Like the word hope is just everywhere. And she's got a book out, Nuggets of Hope. It's just like, you know what? If somebody is trying to tell me, but I think you know that every time I hope for something, it goes to shit, right? So hope is not a good thing with me. It's like I'm definitely a reverse psychology. I'm a bizarro world type of person. Hope is not a good thing.
I think we discussed this before the election. I had the same mindset growing up. Every time I wanted something, I just fought really hard it wasn't going to happen. Then it would happen.
Right. And then Steve, the agent, called me yesterday and tells me about this show that advanced sales are looking so good. This is going to be a great show. And I'm like, don't call me and say that. Call me and say it's going to shit. You probably should cancel now. And then I'll feel good about it. Or I won't feel good about it now. But after it's over, I'll say, it went better than I thought it would go because you told me it was going to go to hell. So I don't deal with hope. But yesterday I was feeling very hopeful, and I was playing Winds of Change, and I'm thinking about the Berlin Wall coming down. I'm like, that could happen, right? That could happen again. Not that wall needs to come down, but definitely people could change, right? Right? People could change.
Sure.
I think they adapt. I don't think they change. There's a difference.
Yeah, maybe.
Put it this way: the people that were racist didn't just suddenly become racist. You know, they've always been racist. They just adapted to the fact that in the past it wasn't cool to be racist. And then once it was like, oh, it's cool to be racist. Thank God. I am so tired of holding it in. And so
I've tried to make that case to people who don't understand why I've cut some people out of my life. It's just like the realization that they've always been this person. It wasn't like they they were keeping it sublimated or trying to hide it, and now they're no longer trying to hide it, and they're out.
Well, typically after I call GD a couple racial slurs, I'm like, wasn't that fun, GD?
Well, no. The funny thing is, it's not just the racial slurs. It's that when he says it, he's usually holding a drink, and when he gets to certain racial slurs, he spits a little in my face. It's not all of them. It's just certain
it just shows how much I care.
Yeah,
right.
It's not all the slurs. It's just certain letters. Certain letters, he just has a little spill flying out. You know, and it's just like, yeah, Ron, thank you. I love you too, man.
Hard R at the end, and yeah, I get it, man. That's still so sweet.
Before we get to Kim Langling, I want to share something with you because I'm not good at predictions. You know, my predictions go backwards. Everything I predict goes upside down. But I have a memory of a situation where Donald Trump his hair was receding, and he told his wife Ivana about it, and she suggested he get plugs, and he got a couple of plugs, and then he freaked out because he was bleeding and he had to wear a hat for like weeks, and his reaction to that was to bash her head in the wall and rape her.
Oh my God, man!
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's in the police report.
Yeah. But yesterday, Trump came out. He was with, I don't know if you guys seen this. He was with Elon Musk, and he looks like Musk has made a similar kind of suggestion. May not get plugs, but I just want to share what he looks like. Look at Trump's face.
Ooh, did he get plastic surgery?
Something, right?
Botox
Something's
or something?
Not right there.
Ew. It looks like somebody tried to stretch a rubber mask of Trump over themselves. And smoothed it out. It's really creepy.
Yeah,
I'm your teacher.
I
find you attractive.
His neck too. His neck got tightened up.
Yeah, a little bit less.
He has like no definition.
He's had a facelift. I didn't know you could have a facelift that quick.
Maybe it's not a lift. Maybe it's like a tuck. Like maybe they pulled it back, and it's like if he takes off the hat, there's like this huge paper clip holding all the skin up here.
Yeah,
it almost looked like somebody took a Michael Myers mask and painted it to look like Trump.
Yeah,
and then put a MAGA hat on it.
Are you on the edge of your seat waiting for my prediction?
If that's I think what your prediction is that if Elon Musk suggested it and Trump took the suggestion, that Trump is going to hit Elon Musk, bash his head against the wall, and rape him.
There you go. Kreskin. Pops Kreskin. Thank you, Pops. You read my mind. Very good.
No, I think that it would be more oral involved.
I thought you were going to go, oh, if he'll listen to Elon Musk for this, and who knows what Elon can suggest and he'll follow. But no, I like the wall and rape suggestion better.
Well, that's the quietest I've ever seen Trump. He's sitting there like, biting his tongue or biting his lip or something because maybe it's just too tight. Maybe he can't open his mouth. Maybe his face is that tight. But to sit there while somebody else is doing all the talking, that's not him either.
Well, maybe he came to the realization where Musk showed him the receipts. He says, look, I bought your ass, okay?
Yeah. No, he knows
I
that.
bought your ass. I own you. Shut up. Let me do my thing. You can talk after I do my SpaceX plug, okay?
It's just a matter of time before these two narcissists are at each other's throat. Like, get the hell out of my house.
Maybe Elon is deep in Trump's throat. And
well, here's what he already gave him the money. Elon is not holding anything. There's no reason for Trump to keep him around anymore. You bought me the election. Now, there's no he doesn't need him anymore.
Technically, he probably does. Remember, well, X for one thing, because social media, he's going to need him for social media.
Why?
But a lot of Trump's policies and stuff in the past have been floated out and ballooned out on X first to get a reaction as a testing, and that's how he reaches most of the people. Truth Social wasn't doing it for him. That's why he wanted to get back to X. Okay, and so he's going to need that. And also, Musk is deep in the U.S. for defense secrets, in the Department of Defense secrets, and well, I won't say NASA secrets because I don't know how NASA keeps a secret, but he's their ride home from this, from, at least for temporarily, until they get something else going. You can't trust Boeing because they'll get you halfway there.
I don't know.
I think that's the new Boeing model. Boeing's new slogan: "We'll get you halfway there."
No, Spirit is filing for bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy, yes.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
But you could. They're still saying you could still buy tickets.
And we'll get you halfway there.
They're not even going to get you.
Good.
You can still buy tickets,
good.
and we'll just bank the money or use it to pay off our debt.
Oh man, that's
all right. Let's get to hope. Well, Kim Langling. It's a very musically sounding name. Langling. She's got coffee and dogs on her website. She's a coffee with the dogs person who doesn't even know she's a coffee with the dogs person. Cats too, a couple of cats, but mostly her office manager is named Dexter. She she listens to shadows and talks with animals. Okay, listens to shadows. She's an author and she's the host of the Let Fear Bounce podcast, and she's here now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in Kim Langling. Good morning, Kim. Your mic is muted.
There we go. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're okay. They're trying to make me hopeful, and I think you're going to try and make me hopeful too. And it's not a good idea. I don't deal with hope.
I'm not shoving hope down anybody's throats. You're gonna be hopeful or you're not. That's
all right.
all there is to it.
You got hope all over your website, though. It's like more hope than Hope Lang had. Lots of hope.
Because I'm hopeful that there can be a little more peace around, and if we don't start it as a person, an individual, then the world's just going to go to shit.
I feel like we're past that.
Yeah, as my grandma used to say, this world's going to hell in a handcart.
Yeah.
I'm like, boy, oh boy, sometimes I feel like, I'm the one pushing that handcart.
I feel like we've already passed through hell. Now we have to go through hell again to come back.
It's in a dump truck now, past the handcart stage.
Yeah. So now let fear bounce. The podcast. What are we talking about? Fear. What kind of fears? Because I'm afraid of bees.
Any kind of fears, any kind of fears. Everybody has a fear, whether they admit to it or not.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of heights. I didn't find that out until my mid-30s.
No, I was afraid of widths. No. If it's too wide, widths. You can't even say widths.
No,
say widths.
Now, Kim, with me, I kind of share your fear of heights, I guess. But for me, it's not the fear of heights. It's the fear of falling from heights. So with you, is it the fear of the height itself, or is it the fear that something could go wrong and you'll be powerless all the way up there, away from the safe ground?
And I've never thought about it. I freeze. I completely freeze and can't move.
Oh, man.
It's a very odd sensation.
Now, my thing is, when I get to a place that's too high, I want to jump.
Oh,
I want to be on the ground. I mean, that's it. My instinct is to jump on the ground. That's it. That's
See, I'm scared of. I'm scared of the heights that are not high enough to kill me. If that makes sense. Like,
I understand that. Yes,
and an airplane is fine. Like, or like 100-story building on the very top is fine. But like 2-3 stories up, if I hit the ground and I have to suffer afterwards, I'm terrified. But if I hit the ground and it's game over, cool. Like, because then I'm, it's a sudden stop at the end that bothers me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. I found out that I was afraid of heights when I was helping put trusses up on a garage. And I'm thinking, well, if I fall this 15 feet or 20 feet, whatever it was, I'm really going to get hurt. Something is going to break.
You could die.
So that might be it.
You could die. Welcome to the Relationship with Heights podcast.
Show, yeah.
because I actually know people who fell off the roof and died. And it wasn't like a high roof. It was like 20, 25 feet. So there's hope. Hope. But when I see people like in the World Trade Center when they were jumping, I'd rather burn to death than jump from like that kind of height.
Nope.
Even though I know it's death, but just because you have time to see the ground coming up and oh, that's going to hurt.
But that's way less time than sitting there watching the flames come and then burn you alive.
And if you've ever been severely burned, that shit don't tickle.
I have. I had third-degree burns almost kill me when I was 18. It sucked.
This is a strange debate, but have you ever run through a fire?
I've never run
through a fire. Oh, I've been on fire, but
I've fallen into a fire, not been able to run out of it.
I've been blown up in a gas fire. I think we've covered that. My father was on fire for about 8 minutes, a fully body fire, and survived it. So you know what? I take my chance with the fire. I feel like I'm doing a Trump here. The shock or the electric. I'm not going near that shock.
You're talking about people burning. You're talking about people being on fire at like 110 stories above the ground. So eventually, you're not just going to burn. You're going to burn and fall, and then you're going to have all the extra pain of the burn. I mean, maybe the sensation of falling will make the pain of the burning go away. I don't know. I've never experienced it.
Hey, thanks, Pop. This is why we keep you around. Kim,
and I thought it was my personality.
No,
we enjoy the suffering here.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question real quick about the shadows? Now, because it says you listen to shadows. Now, is that like literally listening to the absence of light against a wall or something, or is it shadows like the past as we go by, the shadows of what remains behind us, like that kind of thing?
One night, because I don't sleep well, so I was up at 3:00 in the morning and I went outside on my back deck. I live in the country, and it was wintertime, and it was probably 8 degrees maybe, and full moon. And I don't know, you guys, I'm sure, have seen a full moon shine on snow. It's sparkly and beautiful and peaceful. And I was standing there, but the pine trees surrounding my property, a wind picked up, and the pine trees like turned into creatures on the snow. And the pine trees, as the wind is going through, to me, felt like whispers. And I'm thinking, well, that's dark. And so at that moment, I'm like, no, not letting you into my world tonight or this morning. It was just a weird mindset that I was in. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to shadows. And that's how it came about, because I was telling these evil looking shadows that were shining on this beautiful moonlit snow, scenery. They came in and they ruined it. So I got ticked off, and I'm like, no, not this morning, not happening. So that's how my whole talking to shadows came about. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but there it is.
I have a recommendation for you.
Mind Bloom is helping people achieve life-changing clinical and personal breakthroughs, alchemizing both the psychedelic medication, psychiatric care from psychiatric clinicians, coaches we call psychedelic guides, and a lot of content and meditations and programs into this really transformational experience that, because it's delivered at home, costs a lot less and is a lot more convenient for people to receive.
Fucking God. Hey.
And Matt, here's your nickel for your commercial. There's your nickel.
Thank you very much. I can appreciate the shadows on the snow deal, and letting your mind take you into some interesting places there. But it's heavy.
And I wasn't taking Mind Bloom at the time either.
But it might be more fun. Is all.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding there. Tell me about the podcast, because I'm under the impression that your podcast is mostly with authors, and I don't get are authors expressing their fears.
It just turned out that it's mostly authors. I didn't plan it that way, but 90% of my guests, of the 300 plus that I've had, have been authors. I talk about just people's journeys, what they're doing, what their lives are, and maybe something that they've had to overcome. Maybe it's a fear, or fear played a part in it. And, how'd you get to where you are now? I'm a curious person, and I like to hear people's stories and
Same
see where
here.
they've come from and where they're going. So
Same here. I think I've had over 2,000 authors now in the last 7
awesome.
years. Yeah. Well, most of them have been awesome.
Well, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say about me.
Oh no,
you don't have to wait to hear it. He'll say it.
yeah. You don't. That's what I was going to say. You don't really have to. I will say this: everybody who is associated with Mickey in any way has been fun to talk to and inspirational to talk to, and I've learned something from. So
awesome.
but I've had some crazy people. I've had a guy who. He wrote a book about simulation theory that we're living in a computerized simulation. And his proof of that was he saw his daughter's name on a vanity license plate in front of him. I was like, that seemed to fall under more like the coincidence thing. And he got a little angry with me, pointing out that what he's talking about, everybody goes through that. And that's not necessarily proof of simulation. And then he 2 weeks later, he was angry that he didn't sell any books. I said, well, it wasn't because I didn't try to help you sell books. It's that you were freaking batshit crazy on the program.
Yeah, it helps to not be batshit crazy.
Yeah, it does. Well, I don't know. I think it helps to be batshit crazy. Yeah, I wish I could get even more batshit crazy.
Yeah, sometimes I think so too.
The world would be a much better place. So tell us a little bit about were you always intending to be an author and a podcaster? I call it digital broadcaster.
No, actually, this all kind of, in 2020 when, the world did its, let's shut down and tell everybody they have to stay in their houses. That's when I came up with, I'm like, the world and the media is feeding fear. They're like shoving it down our throats. And I wasn't accepting it. I was like, no, that's, you're not going to tell me to be afraid to walk outside or to breathe or to be around my family or any of that. And that's where the podcast idea came. Cause I'm like, I'm letting that stuff bounce. I'm not going to let fear land on me, period. Right. And so I kept saying out loud to myself, I'm letting that stuff bounce. And I'm like, oh, let fear bounce. Oh, what's this podcasting stuff about? I didn't know anything about podcasting.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to Google it. So I Googled it. And 2 hours later, I sat down on just with my laptop and did my first episode. And I'm like, well, that probably really sucked, but this might be kind of fun. And so I just did a lot more research and, got, a nice mic and camera and stuff like that.
My greatest fear, well, not my greatest fear. I'm lying. I just lied. Get me out of here, liar. One of my biggest peeves in I'm a professional podcaster. Would you like to spend money with me and I will promote your podcast? How much of since you become a podcaster, have you been inundated with DMs and emails and people just wanting to just help you grow your podcast?
Oh, absolutely. Boy. We can help you do this. We can help you do this if you pay us this much.
Do you just dismiss them and just not answer them? Because
most of them I block and delete. I'm like, I don't need your crap. No.
Yeah. I wait. First, I start out with saying, why don't you get a real job? And then I block them.
Oh, you reply to them.
Yes, I do.
Sometimes I just, if I'm in a bit of a snarky mood, I may, but most of the time I'm like, I don't feel like bringing this drama into my day. So I just block and delete.
Yeah. Now, when you talk to authors, are they mostly fictional?
You're every kind of author.
No, the authors are real, Matt. The authors are real. The authors are real. They're not fictional. They have real books. Yeah. That's
right.
Thank you for that clarification.
He keeps looking for these fake people with fake books. I don't know where he's looking for them.
He talks to shadows. I don't know if we mentioned that.
First of all, my family.
I do.
It could be just shadow people, shadow authors.
I talk to my dog too, so. My dog is my office manager.
Have you heard of a fellow named David Berkowitz?
I think so.
Yeah, he used to talk to dogs.
If you guys have pets, do any of you guys have pets?
Yes.
I have pets and pet peeves.
I do too. But for pets, the ones that are alive, don't you talk to them?
Yes, all of them.
Sure.
Yeah, for the most part.
My wife is, she talks to the chickens like this is her thing now. She talks to chickens, and now she's got to the point where she hand feeds the deer. The deer will come, and so the deer are like pets now. So we have dogs, cats, chickens, turkeys, groundhogs. What else do we have? All other kind of. I said turkeys.
Did you mention
right?
the turkey? You mentioned turkeys. You mentioned the deer. Do you have foxes?
Turkey. No, I have not seen a red fox on my property.
You know, I've got red fox and coyotes.
Wow.
And you know what went through the other day? The other day, a black bear.
Oh no! See that's
yeah, right through the woods behind my house. My
Don't
neighbor
pet
caught
that.
it on their trail cam, and they
Don't
sent
pet
it
it.
to me and said, "When you're out walking, Dexter, just so you know, this guy came through." And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I don't know what you would feed them, but I would not feed them because
No, I don't feed bear.
Yeah,
I feed bears small children normally.
Small children.
that's what I was thinking.
Now, when it comes to talking to pets, I think that I think especially people in relationships, they can actually gauge the status of their relationship by the way the other one talks to the pet. If they, because I know, like my first wife used to talk to my dog, used to talk to the dog about me while I was in the room instead of talking to me. So she might say something like, "So, did you have any fun today? Did you do anything, or did you sit at home and sit on your ass like your dad all day long?" You know, something like that. Or, you know, and
Sounds like your dog was a
point,
snitch.
You know, she says sit on the ass. What does she expect them to sit on?
Yeah, your face.
Yeah, you don't. Oh, what else is there to sit on?
Well, the truth of the matter is, I did the housework and the groceries and paid the rent. So what her idea was sitting on my ass was division. You know, it was just 30 minutes. It was like, yeah, I deserved a 30-minute break before she came in the house and started bitching at me through the dog. Yeah. But talking to pets is a good way to gauge a relationship if you have one going on. Now, like my current wife talks to the cat in such a loving way, and even about me, she'll go like, "Did you have fun with your dad today?" Now, I'm not crazy about it, but at least what I'm hearing is nicer than what I used to hear.
That's a big difference. Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, that's I don't know if you recognize him. That's Teller from Penn and Teller up in the middle there. He doesn't say much. He was a reincarnation of Harpo Marx. But those sound effects or those voiceover things are his dirty deeds. Right.
Dirt cheap.
So now we're showing a book, Nuggets of Hope. I'm assuming this is your most recent release, right?
Yeah, it was just released on the 14th.
Okay, is it an anthology or is like essays, or is it a full narrative like a novel? What are we talking about here?
It's I give out nuggets of hope to people. So I feel nudged to approach people. I don't know them. So it could be creepy to some people, but
well, it's not creepy to me, but I feel like it will backfire. If you try to give me hope, it will just make my world fall apart.
So I have these little nuggets.
Oh, wow.
And I carry them with me, and I hand them out to people that I feel nudged to approach. And I've been doing it for over two years. And the book is, in part, I wrote down those experiences of the reactions that I've got.
How cool is that? Well, I know you have some experience in marketing. It would seem to me that taking somebody around to videotape this would be really, it would make almost a really, I don't want to say almost, like a compelling, like an hour-long show on Netflix or streaming media, something like this.
I've thought of that. I've thought of that, actually. I've thought of that. Yeah. I don't know how I would go about doing that, me personally.
Part of the problem with that is because if people see a video camera, that's going to change their spontaneous reaction.
Because I've had laughter, I've had tears, I've had people hug me. I had an older gentleman yell and swear at me in Walmart and say, "What the hell do I need hope for?"
That was my fault. I didn't realize that you were offering me hope.
I was going to say I didn't remember that, but I
mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've been doing this for 2 years, and not one person has refused to accept my little nugget of hope. They have all taken it and put it in their pocket or their purse.
Now, I have two questions for you then. In your book, Nuggets of Hope, is there like a fake opening in there where there's sitting one of those little nuggets of this? When you open the book, it's like a little hole in the book, and there's a nugget there, and then there's the text.
No.
And, okay. And then the other thing is your nuggets. The nuggets, are they 100% hope, or do you have filler in them?
It's all in how the receiver accepts it. So if they feel it's filled with hope, wonderful. If they are in a spot where they're like, it's just a rock, well,
I think he's
Charlie
wondering
Brown.
how much. I think he's wondering how much of that nugget compared to like a McNugget is processed chicken versus hope.
And it's 100% hope because it's given with love and grace.
All right. I'm sorry to go into this whole capitalist point of view here, but did you actually have to have these nuggets manufactured? Did you contract a company to make these nuggets for you, or you made them? You went out?
No, I actually found them online and bought them.
Wow. Somebody's selling hope.
Well,
Literally selling hope.
People aren't. Well, yeah, the people that are selling these are, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm giving them away. So.
Very cool. Have you now you've been doing the podcast since the beginning of like 2020, 5 years?
Yep.
What have you had any like, I don't know, really profound lessons that you'd like to share with us, or things you've taken away from it?
Profound. There's been a few that afterwards I was in tears.
Yeah.
Just because, well, you all know, and I'm sure, none of us get through life unscathed. We all have our crap that we carry or that we've been through, or those holes that we fall in and they're hard to crawl back out of. And there's some folks that maybe they were addicts and they've turned that around, or they went through sexual abuse or rape, really life-altering things. And they share that willingly to provide hope to others and say, I can get through this, you can too, because life can really suck sometimes.
Yeah.
And those folks, those ones that have been through some amazing trauma, it's just amazing because you look at them and what they're now doing with taking that crap and they turned it into a light for others. To me, that's just so profound. And so it really hits me. I'm a very empathetic person. And when those stories, I hear them, I actually feel them, and you're just like, oh my goodness, the world is filled with amazing people.
Yeah.
It truly is.
I agree.
If you keep your eye out for it and don't always put the shit in front of your face.
Yeah, no, I it's keep coming back to this idea about I love people. I don't like people as a group. I don't like humanity. I don't like I don't like the collective people of Earth.
Yeah.
But one-on-one or in small groups, I find people fascinating.
I'm right. There are so many days I wake up, I'm like, I don't want a people today.
Yeah. Yeah. But to your point, I have met so many people with really heartfelt stories. I actually tear up and get emotional listening to some of the stories. I had one woman who shared I don't want to go through what she went through, but she went through some really, really horrific things with her ex-husband, shared that story, put out in reels, and the negative reaction from people who have listened to her story, it baffles me how people can just hear and get judgmental about what she had to do to escape the abuse and all this kind of stuff. Do you pay attention to the reaction from like on your YouTube comments and
I've not gotten any negative ones. Well, I've gotten a couple of them and I've actually just deleted them because I'm like, I don't want that negativity around me.
Yeah.
Or even anywhere where someone can read it, those people, I think they need to look in the mirror.
I need to learn to do that. I need to learn to just delete them and not react to them and not reply to them.
Yeah, I have, because if I were to look at them and reply, then they're getting a reaction and they're winning.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. And I'm like, no, not today.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there are some people who, no matter what, even if you like just want to just have one comment back to them, they have to be a last word. They have to always come back. You can't just ever end it. Like, no, it's got to be more. And I fall for it every time. I take the bait. It's not good. Now, coming back to your writing, this is your latest release, just came out on the 14th. How many, because it seems like you're very prolific a writer. How many books do you have, and are they all this kind of stories of sharing like actual moments, or are you a novelist?
No, this Nuggets of Hope is actually the first one in a very long time that's just me. I coordinate anthologies, so I bring in other authors and they share short stories like up to 1,500 words. My last two books, there's Paw Prints on the couch and Paw Prints on the kitchen floor. It's all about pets, people sharing their stories about their pets and how they've enriched their lives, or most of them are rescue pets, you know, and those were, they're my favorite to do. They're absolute, because it's just, pets play a big part in so many people's lives and mine as well. And, you know, therapy dogs and service animals, and animals are just amazing.
Right.
And they're just pure and true. And most of the times I'd rather spend time with my dog than humans. And
Yeah.
I have met so many other people like that. And I'm like, you're my people.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now, Dexter is a rescue dog. What does that mean? You rescued him from a shelter, or
Yeah, I adopted him from a kill shelter. Yeah.
Wow. Did he have a story?
He was a stray, but when I got him, he was really super skinny and super ill. And he was the only dog at the shelter. And I'm going, this is weird. Why is he the only dog? Because they're usually overly full. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, maybe they cleared. I just hate thinking about it because they're a kill shelter. So I went to meet this little guy and he was super scared, super skittish. And I thought, I'm just going to sit here on this floor in this little tiny room and wait for him. He has to choose me, because I had just had to put my other one to sleep like 4 months prior. And I kept telling myself, I'm not doing this again. I can't. It's too hard.
Yeah. That's
and
my
so I'm like, all right. I felt strongly nudged to get another one. So I sat there on that floor, and about 10 minutes, didn't say a word. I didn't move. And he kept coming up, sniffing, running away, scratching at the door to get out. And then finally he just came, sniffed my shoulder, sat down beside me, leaned his whole body against me, and put his head on my shoulder and just looked up. And I went, oh, okay, you're coming home with me. So he chose me. So
wow.
So what breed? What breed is
he is
Dexter?
he's a Belgian Malinois Mastiff mix.
Wow.
Wow.
So he's kind of big then.
Yeah, he's about 80 pounds. Not so big. My other dog was twice his size. So
okay, when you said Mastiff, I was thinking
yeah, Mastiff,
a mix.
he's got the build, like the chest, you know, build.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Belgian Malinois is his color. He's got that coloring. Oh, and he has like a smidge of husky in him because he has one brown eye and one blue eye.
Wow.
He's a very interesting looking dog.
I have a pet story I could share with you.
I would love to hear it.
I had pigs, pet pigs. First one was Rufus. I took him home. He would fit in my pocket, and I did not have any way to feed him. So I stopped at a CVS, and the pig was in my pocket, and he was oinking away, squeaking away, while I was getting a baby bottle so I could feed him with it. Everybody's looking around like, what's that noise in your pocket? I pulled him out, and it was a little pig, and then the whole place went crazy. I had Rufus for a while. Rufus, I took him home again. He fit in my pocket. 6 months later, it was 600 pounds. Yeah, they say mini pig. The thing with mini pigs is they starve them. Then there's no such thing as a mini pig. A mini pig is. So I had Rufus, and then I said, well, you know, Rufus was a really friendly pig. He was really smart. He figured out how to open cabinets. He figured out how to basically open doors and do stuff. He was a very smart pig. But he also tilled my yard upside down every day because he was, and that eating grub worms and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I figured I'd get him a friend. So I got him a friend, Charlotte. from Charlotte's Web, another little pig. And then I had the pigs, and they were getting just too big for the house. So I built a barn, and a heated barn, put them in the barn. And one night I noticed, I'm working in my office, and I noticed police car lights in my driveway. And I look out and I was like, "What's going on? Are you the pig man?" I was like, "I guess." He said, one of your pigs missing?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, we have a random pig running around town terrorizing people." And so I got to see this. And both my pigs are here, and I had a car that it was a Pontiac Fiero that I cut the roof off of to look like a Ferrari. And I drove it into town, and they found this pig that was, according to them, terrorizing people. Pig was scared, and I, like you, I just sat there and waited for the pig to come, and it sat in my lap. And she was wounded. She was somebody who was bought as a mini pig, but they tried to stifle her growth by chaining her, putting chains all over. So she had all these welts and everything on her. She's sitting in my lap, and this pig's coming home with me. And so I got in the car with the roof cut off, and she said, "It's a stick." I've got to drive with a 90-pound pig at that time. She got much bigger than that, but on my lap and like licking me the whole time. And people like, so I became a three pig man, three little pigs.
Pig man. You
Yeah,
became the pig man.
Yeah.
What
so
an awesome
little
story.
orphan Annie.
So that pig, what was the name of that pig? What you
name? Annie, orphan Annie.
So
Yeah.
Annie was able to live her best life then.
Yeah, and she outgrew the welts, and then she became an ice cream freak, and she grew up to be about 600, 700 pounds, something like that. Pigs do not stay small. They are built for one thing, and that's eating. That they are eating machines, and so you can't stifle it.
Oh, I thought you meant eating like we eat them. I
Yeah.
don't think that was the intention. I don't think that's why pigs have babies.
Believe me, when people would start talking, "Oh, that would make a good chunk of bacon," like, you're talking about my pet, dude. I will really make me angry. But Rufus, again, he got to like 600 pounds, and he got pneumonia because pigs, they have a lot of fat around their lungs. They are prone to get pneumonia. Called a horse vet because we couldn't find a pig vet. And the horse vet came to visit him, and then he said, "I'll check on him." And then he said, "I'll be right back. Where you going?" And he went and got a shotgun out of his truck, and he was going to put Rufus to sleep. But you're not going to shoot my pet pig in the head in front of me. He said, "Well, you have one other option. You could take him in the house, into your bedroom, put a heat lamp on him, keep it with him every day, shoot him full of penicillin every day." So I got him a room and a heat lamp and all the stuff, kept him nice and warm, was doing shots with him. He wasn't eating, and a pig that won't eat is like on death's door. And finally, after 2 months of every day, I went and I just tried to give him a banana, and he went nuts on the banana and started chewing it, and he went straight past the banana and bit my thumb clear off, blood shooting everywhere. And I was so ecstatic. I'm doing like a hop around with blood shooting everywhere in the room. And but I was ecstatic that he was eating. So I went to make him more breakfast while I'm bandaging up my stuff, and he wasn't being patient. He wanted to come out the door, but I closed the door. And so he knocked a hole in the wall to the outside. He literally put walked through the wall, a pig-sized hole in my wall, and went out to the barn where he used to live.
Well,
and
he was done. He was done being inside then.
Yeah.
Jeez,
So,
oh man.
Yeah, I nursed him back to health.
Too healthy.
2 years. Yeah.
That's awesome. What an awesome story. See, that would be a great story in one of my Paw Prints books.
Yeah. So we've had these things with animals. Now my wife has got, like, she's attracting every kind of animal in the world to come here. So
that's what it seems. I call my place. It's just a wildlife refuge because everything goes through my property.
Yeah. What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Teller's neck of the woods. Anyway,
what part of Pennsylvania?
Teller. That's where he's from.
Yeah, what part of Pennsylvania?
And the northwest corner. I'm in between Erie and Pittsburgh. I'm about an hour and a half north of Pittsburgh.
That's pretty eerie.
I see what you did there.
So, did I have that right though, or are you? I mean, it seems like you're a very prolific writer. It seems like there's a lot of books on your website. No, am I wrong?
Yeah, no, yeah, I do. I love to do that, and I like creating journals and stuff. So a lot of that's on there are journals, things like that. That's just fun to me when I'm in like a writer's block or whatever. I'm like my ideas don't seem right, or that's not something I want to write about. I make a journal because it's
Right.
just
Is that
fun.
because I love the creative process, but it seems like writing books is a very solitary type of thing. Is that basically when you feel like being creative, everybody leave me alone. I don't want people around at all.
Yes. Yes. I'm a solitary. I have found the older I get, I feel like I prefer my own company over others. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. But writing for me it's nice to disappear into that story, because a story gets in my head and it's like, if it's there and it keeps saying, got to get out.
Yeah.
We're tired of being here in your head.
Would you consider yourself I don't know, discipline is not really the right way, but regimented maybe is a better word. Somebody who said, well, it's 10 o'clock, I got to write at 10 o'clock.
No, not at all. No, I write when it hits me.
So what if it hits you when you're not in a place where, I mean, because this has happened to me, and for me, it's like I become dangerous. Like if I'm on the road and a song hits me, I got to get home. Everybody is in danger. Everybody on the road is in danger.
Because I walk my dog. My dog Dexter and we walk a lot. We walk miles every day, and a lot of times that's where my ideas come from when I'm out in the field or out in the woods or wherever. And I started to, before I would be like, oh, we have to get home as quick as possible. But then I'm like, Kim, what are you doing? Putting yourself and others at risk. So
yeah.
I started using my phone and just talking into my phone, the idea.
I've tried that too.
And then when I get home, I type it out real quick so it's still stuck in my head and I can understand my own thoughts. Because sometimes I have notebooks everywhere too. And I always call, every notebook in every room of my house, it holds all of those brilliant thoughts. And sometimes you come back and you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
All the time. But with me, that's almost exclusive. I mean, if I look at my notes, it's like, what the hell? Who wrote this? I wrote this.
Right. I'm like, I have no idea what I was even talking about here.
Yeah. It's terrible. So yeah, and now I'm going all over the place here, but the podcast, you do it weekly?
Yes, every Wednesday a new episode is up. So
now you record it first, or do you?
They're excuse me. They are pre-recorded, yeah, and I'm usually about 8 to 9 weeks out because I like to have a buffer.
Good for you. Putting what do they call it? Backlogging it, or whatever you're doing there. For me, I started that way, and I was like, what the hell's the point of this? I'm not doing much editing anyway, and I don't really care. I like all the warts and stuff, warts and all. So I just let it fly, and then I decided, you know what? I'll just go live anyway. It's just so much simpler. There's no editing involved. It made my life much more less work, more fun.
I'm considering that, and I've had several people say, Kim, just go live, then you don't have all that pressure of editing and scheduling it out and not blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I could. What's weird is I don't know, this is where I think I have like a weird kind of fear. I don't know what it is, but something intimidates me about going live, and I haven't been able to pinpoint it.
Do you feel intimidated now?
Right now, no. As a guest,
right.
No.
You're live.
Yeah, but she's not responsible for the production of this.
Indeed.
Who is? Me? Oh my God!
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about her and her reluctance, not you and yours.
I know, but somebody has to be responsible for this, right?
That's probably it, because I would have to be multitasking and not paying full attention to my guest. That's how I think. That's probably that.
Or you could just fuck things up like I do all the time. Right? Like
You can just screw it all up.
Matter of fact, I think everybody in this whole room here has a podcast. I think maybe so. And with me, mine doesn't go. I don't do mine live because I have a certain way I want it done, and the way I want it done, I don't have the capability to do it live the way I want it done. So that's why mine's a podcast.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What I mean?
How do you want it done that you couldn't do it live?
Okay, for example, she was talking about
that's what I wanted.
Pennsylvania, or Kim was talking about Kim. If Kim and I were, if I was interviewing Kim on my Done Way Past Funny, and she starts talking about her podcast or something, I would, in my version, I would have a graphic that I could pop up right then. So whatever she talks about to help the audience with the experience. So if she starts talking about, let's say her dog, I would have like a picture of her dog pop up so they could see it.
You could do that with this.
I could do that in post. I can't do that live, especially if you're live, you don't know what they're going to talk about until they talked about it. You don't have the opportunity to go, like she could talk about, I went to such and such a college and so. And I'm like, I didn't know she was going to talk about that. How am I going to pull that up? In post-production, I could Google it, pull up a graphic, say this is where it is, blah, blah, help people understand.
You could do it pretty, if you can type, you can pretty much do that.
To me, that's multitasking.
See, there you go. And I cannot do that. I cannot do the typing and paying attention and listening. I can't
either.
Wow.
So that's why mine is post-production.
Yeah.
But, you nailed it right there. Thanks for clearing that up for me.
Yeah. But have you seen the show? It sucks.
No, I haven't.
It does. It really does.
Fucking awful.
Fucking
awful. It's probably the worst waste of bandwidth.
I know it's not the worst. I know it's not the worst because there's a show called Mangy, M-A-N-G-Y, and they specialize in showing the worst of the worst on the internet. That's what they do.
There's a podcast called "Are You Garbage?" that I don't know.
They've friended me and they've watched my show and they've commented and they laughed, and even when I was late getting it out because I used to have like a time frame, they were like, "What are you doing? You're an hour late." And they would laugh, but I've never been on their show, which means I'm not the worst, or at least I'm not in the 10 worst anyway. I could be the 11th worst.
Wow. Once again, this show is all about GD. It's got to be all about him. Forget about the guests. It doesn't matter. It
started off talking about the guests and her. Forget this. I'm leaving. I'm tired of this. Where's my rope? I'm done. I am absolutely done.
Don't put that on your neck. Don't.
No, there's hope. There's hope for you yet.
There goes Rumble again.
Here.
Would you like a nugget?
Here,
you need a
nugget.
Wow.
If you don't let it go, chuck it at you.
Yeah. Wow.
Matt, you right now people on Rumble are going, let's take a bet. How long will he last?
So let's forget about that going live thing because it's definitely with a rope around your neck, it's not good to go live. Let's forget I even brought up the live part of it. But now all that editing stuff, do you do it yourself or do you outsource it? Because that can't be fun,
I do it
right?
myself. But I used to edit a lot and put so much time. It was ridiculous. And I said, Kim, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So within I don't know, probably this past year, I don't do a whole lot of editing. The only part that I do, I'll put in, like their website. So it shows up on screen, like GD was saying. I'll add things like that. But I don't edit out all of that. I used to edit out all the pauses, the ums, the coughs, all of that. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. So they are much more, how people normally talk.
I was doing I was managing podcasts for a publishing company that is a book publisher. Here's what they do, and this is the problem with publishing right now: is that publishing is more oversaturated than comedy, which is hard to. It's hard to beat the amount of comedians or people call themselves comedians. But they were offering people who want to write a book, will produce a podcast for you, we'll make transcripts of the podcast, interviews, and all that stuff, compile it, we'll have our ghostwriters compile it into a book, and so that's their business model.
Okay.
And what they were asking me to do was manage booking the guests for these people, editing their podcasts and all that stuff. But they were so meticulous about they want every and all the filler phrases and words taken out. I mean, hours and hours of that stuff. And it's like nobody in the audience is going to really care that much if there's an extra or if I could see if you're Ed Koch, former mayor of New York, all day long.
Or former President Obama, who uses that as punctuation, it's like a comma. He goes like,
I never noticed that.
I never noticed it either.
I'm gonna notice now.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to.
Yeah, me too.
And the funny thing is, if you watch him in 2004, before when he was being discovered, and the way he does it now he realizes, and it's part of his persona now. So he's actually done it. He's become a caricature of himself.
So he does it on purpose now.
I forgot to put the banner in now. Kim,
it's kind of like John Wayne. It's kind of like John Wayne became John Wayne. Before he was when he was acting, he was John Wayne. But then he became more John Wayne off the stage. Off the screen. He just became a parody of himself.
It is amazing to see how your brain works.
That's not.
It is. Is it working?
No, it's not.
Thank God. Because the gears were stuck earlier today. I'm glad to see they're working now. It was stuck. I had transmission trouble earlier.
Yeah. Kim Langling author.com. Kim, what kind of name is Langling? I mean, from a
my ex-husband's name is what it is.
Oh.
It's German. It's actually German. He was a German from Germany. Yeah.
Interesting. I would not have guessed that.
I know most people don't, but it's actually. I looked into it just for shits and giggles when we were married, and it's been around since like the 1400s in Germany. The last name Langling.
Is he like? Was he? I'm not saying was like he may be dead or you're wishing him dead. I mean, was it's a past relationship that was. So was he like what people like a stereotypical German, what people would think like with the accent and lederhosen, and he was like really into his culture with the bratwurst? Like, was he really immersed in the culture, or was he like, I'm German, but I'm an American now?
No, he was German through and through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
just so you know, they don't typically wear lederhosen.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
No,
I've been there numerous times. They don't.
It's very disappointing.
Because I've been to 3 Oktoberfests, and every last one of them, they were all wearing lederhosen.
In Germany?
No, they were down here in Westminster.
Was it October?
That's the United States.
Was it October, and they had like a stage and like beer going on, like
Oktoberfest. It was like a big warehouse, and everybody was wearing lederhosen, including the black
and
people.
That's kind of fun. But in Germany, they don't walk around wearing lederhosen.
Yeah,
I'm not going to Germany now.
You said the black people were wearing them.
Yeah, they had 3 black people that worked there.
Do they call them later homies instead of later hosen?
Later homies. Later homie.
They just say later hose. Later hose.
If this is interesting.
It's amazing how the conversation goes in this room.
It's
great fun.
People say, "What is this show about?" And it really could be anything at any moment.
It's fun. It's fun.
I think Ron is leading the conversation here.
I don't know. Mr. Kane, have you said anything? Have you spoken? No? Okay. And he's not going to now. Okay.
He's like Teller. He definitely, he's the guy who knows how to trick his gun.
He's like the love child of Teller and Stephen Hawking. That's why he has the soundboard.
Okay.
Yeah. We are way past time here. We're expecting our next guest, but I have to go. Your ex-husband, being from Germany, right? Was he from Germany?
Born, raised from Germany.
Was he old enough to experience? Because this is a revelation. For the last 2 weeks, I've been in the biggest funk, depressing funk, because I had hope. Yeah, you didn't notice? But yesterday we had a guest, Don Sawyer, who is an author who's associated with Mickey as well. And
I know him. He's been a guest on my show, too.
He's brought up the Berlin Wall falling. And you know what? That was such a pivotal moment in my life. I was in my early 30s when that happened, and it was something that we never thought possible. And the winds of change and the way that happened so quickly, that was a hopeful for me. Yesterday was like, wow, that's good perspective. I need to hear about that. Was your husband alive to experience that in Germany?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm in my mid 50s and he's older than me. So yeah, he was, I think, in his 20s.
Yeah.
So it was very profound for him as well. And he was on the western side of Germany. So to have that come down and, eastern side open up, that families could actually see each other again.
Yeah.
That was crazy stuff with that wall. But yeah, that was very profound for him.
For
I
me
think
too.
everybody.
And I wasn't even part of the German, even though I have some German heritage. It was just wow, good can win in the world. And that was like a wow, a total inspirational moment for me. And I just wish that it gives me a glimmer of hope that maybe
What's
sometime.
interesting is the eastern side of Germany is still so much different than the western side.
Right. Yeah. It definitely takes time.
Because it was, how long was that wall up? It was
Right.
very interesting stuff and very interesting history to learn about, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting to just kind of to hear from a German.
And you said Winds of Change" by the Scorpions. That's one of my all-time favorite songs.
I was saying this morning that I did not have on my 2024 bingo card that I would become a huge Scorpions fan again. I was working. I remember when that song came out. I was working as a mastering engineer for their record company, and I was duplicating that song. And I remember the first time I heard it, before the public heard it, and I broke down in tears because it was about the wall coming down and the experience of understanding that we could be like brothers again. And for people who lived through that, it's just a really monumental moment in humanity. And I hope there is something. I'm using the word hope there's something like that on the horizon for humanity.
I think if we each as individuals do our part to just be a little bit kinder, it really can change the world.
Yeah.
Even if it's just your own slice of the world. And that's why I always say, you know what, I can't change the entire world. I'm one person, but I can damn sure change my own slice of the world.
Yeah, I hear you. But to me, the revelation, now part of the revelation, it was misleading. Again, and I don't know where you fall on politically on this, but I'm assuming that when you talk about kindness, you're not one of these people who celebrate cruelty. But what I found was, or what I believed starting 2 weeks ago, was there are far more people celebrating cruelty and meanness than kindness. And now, as the numbers come in, it turns out that it's like not half. It's not even really a third. But still, that's enough. That's an overwhelming a lot of
too many. Yeah. Well, the way there are days I'm like, that person needs a punch in the throat.
Yeah.
And that's not nice, and that's not a hopeful thing to think. But
yeah, no.
Boy,
but
sometimes
it could be
you're like,
hopeful. You're hopeful that punch in the throat will bring them to a nicer way of being. Hopeful.
It'll shut them up because they won't be able to talk.
Shut them up long enough to maybe take a breath and think about.
Right, exactly. Think about what you're saying and what you're doing.
Yeah. Geraldo Rivera, I'm sorry to go back into this whole political. Geraldo Rivera brought up because they're going to use the military to deport people who they believe are here illegally. But how do they know that? There's only one way they can know that. It is literally papers, please, which is, brings us right back to a whole other period in Germany that we, all
in South Africa and other places.
Yeah, that's a lot of different places in the world.
Yeah. People, Nuggets of Hope is the book. I'm sorry, Kim. We got to make room for our next guest.
Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth is coming back with us. KimLanglingAuthor.com. People go where you can find out about all the books, but the current book out is called Nuggets of Hope, and that's what we've been talking about, hope, and hopefully there are some nuggets. Thank you for sharing your insights and your care for animals. I love that stuff in the dog. Tell Dexter I said hello. He'll know.
I will. Thanks so much for having me. It was nice meeting all you.
Thanks for being here. Bye for now. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Kim Langling, let's play the news while we wait for. You're taking my spot, you bastard. Taking my spot. Let's play the news and hear about the random stabbings that I'm missing out on. How about that?
Hell yeah, let's go.
President Joe Biden is preparing to send Congress an emergency funding proposal in the coming days, according to the White House.
The funding is aimed at addressing urgent disaster relief needs across the United States after a series of devastating storms, a White House memo revealed. Several agencies are reportedly running low on funds due to consecutive major hurricanes, the memo stated. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Election denier Carrie Lake has settled a defamation lawsuit tied to her unsuccessful bid for Arizona governor in 2022, according to media reports.
The settlement's terms remain confidential, but the Washington Post was the first to report the agreement between Lake and Richer. Both the Arizona Mirror and The Hill confirmed the deal through statements from Richer or his representatives. Both sides are satisfied with the result, Richer told The Hill via text. Kyle Norris reporting.
A densely populated neighborhood in Beirut was struck by an Israeli airstrike, resulting in 5 fatalities and 24 injuries, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry.
After a brief daytime pause, Israel resumed its assault on Beirut, hitting a structure in the Zokak El Blat neighborhood near the city's downtown entrance. Witnesses and the official national news agency reported 2 missiles targeted a ground floor office and a coffee shop within an old building in the crowded area, which has become home to thousands of displaced residents from South Lebanon and Beirut's southern suburbs. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Not really. It's just the dated headlines. Get on with it. Was that it?
Spirit Airlines has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection just months after a federal judge blocked its proposed merger with JetBlue Airways.
The Florida-based budget airline issued an open letter to reassure customers with future bookings. Spirit emphasized that flights, ticket sales, and other operations will proceed as usual. The most important thing to know is that you can continue to book and fly now and in the future, the letter stated. Jim Kender reported.
3 suspects, including an 11-year-old, have been arrested in connection with a series of armed robberies targeting convenience stores and gas stations in the Seattle area, police announced.
The suspects, a child, a 21-year-old, and a 19-year-old, are accused of committing 4 robberies within a 2-hour span early Friday morning and a 5th later that night. Seattle police reported wearing masks and armed with guns. They demanded cash and goods before fleeing in stolen vehicles, authorities said. Liam White reporting.
A man has been arrested for allegedly killing 2 people and injuring another in a series of unprovoked stabbings in Manhattan, authorities reported.
The first victim, a 36-year-old man, was fatally stabbed in the abdomen at 8:22 a.m. Monday near a construction site on West 19th Street, the NYPD stated.
Monday.
Roughly 2 hours later, a 68-year-old man was stabbed multiple times and killed on East 30th Street, according to police. Lawrence Keller reported.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
8:22 a.m. he was stabbed. It's not like a bullet. I mean, or a forensic thing where you can the time of death. Like the knife doesn't have a timestamp on it. Right? 8:20. Oh, the wound says 8:22.
Maybe they got it on camera.
Yeah, there was a guy. Elizabeth is here, so I don't want.
Maybe the guy did this. Oh fuck! You stabbed me at 8:22. That's nice.
I haven't even had my coffee yet. Fucking Mondays.
Damn it! Oh shit!
Yeah, it's either late or early. I mean, really, you want it at 8:30, right? That's.
I don't know. I feel like if you're not going to stab me before I leave the house, then leave me alone. I got too much shit to worry about.
22 minutes late on the stabbing.
I haven't had my coffee yet. Damn it!
There was a guy back in the 90s who was going around stabbing people with needles, HIV needles.
I heard about
in
this
in Manhattan. That just kind of reminds me of that, just random, like just going up to people and jabbing them and running away, that kind of thing. That's what it sounds like. Like it's a crazy stabber on the loose in New York City. Just before, and maybe Elizabeth might want to comment on this when we bring her in. RFK Jr., our new health star, Health and Human Services guy, he is on record as denying that HIV caused AIDS.
Oh my God.
The gay lifestyle causes AIDS in his opinion, and that HIV, the virus, is just nothing. It's just a nothing virus, and it doesn't cause AIDS. And he, I forget what country he went to. He kind of convinced people to stop treating HIV, and convinced one mother who was pregnant. Not pregnant. She had just given birth. Oh no, she was pregnant and found out she was HIV positive, had the child, and then was still breastfeeding the child while she was HIV positive. The kid got AIDS and died. So he's liable, morally liable for that death. But this is our new.
I'm so glad to find out that AIDS and HIV are a big nothing burger, because
AIDS is a real thing, but HIV doesn't cause it. It's all the butt fucking that causes it.
But it's funny because my brother got it from a transfusion when he was in the Army.
No, he had to get it from butt fucking. Yes, Robert.
So butt fucking causes this? Hope my wife doesn't see this.
How could you get it from a transfusion
No, I don't
if it's not like from the virus? The only way you can really get it is from butt fucking.
What if the virus was the one actually? What if it was Dr. HIV who did the transfusion? Then could you get it?
I don't know. But speaking of butt fucking, let's bring in our next guest right now, who's born on the same day as Dick Gregory. I had to bring up Dick because we're talking about butt fucking. What is this? We're moving around like the Brady Bunch up there. Queen Elizabeth, the troublemaker, Elizabeth Corden. Make sure you spell her last name right, or she'll bite your face off.
That's correct.
And pronounce it correctly too.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Your
I'm working on my
Majesty.
queen wave. Thank you. Thank you. Her Royal Highness. That's really what I prefer.
You don't look bad for being dead for however long you've been dead so far.
Well, I'm not that Queen Elizabeth. I'm Queen
Right.
Elizabeth
okay, my bad.
Croydon from Kensington, Maryland.
Kensington.
Yes.
Oh.
Which sounds
that-
like it sounds kind of like a noble or a blue blood type of name. Kensington.
I'm going over to England and reclaiming it in the name of America. There's a new queen in town. I'll be setting up shop at the Croydon Palace in Croydon, England. I'm
Carl's
certain
not
that
in
I'll be
that
accepted.
I hope Carl's
So
not
why
listening.
not?
You hope what?
I hope Carl's not listening. We have some friends in the UK, and they get a little. I don't know. They get a
I was
little.
gonna say
worked up.
Carl might be a bigger
Pear-shaped? They get a little pear-shaped?
Yeah.
Our whole government is pear-shaped right now.
Yeah.
So Bob's your uncle.
Right.
God spelled backwards is dog, which I'm having coffee with, but Bob spelled backwards is still Bob.
Go, Bob.
Go Bob. Praise
yes,
Bob.
Yeah.
I'll have Bob praise.
So what,
Yeah.
you wanted my opinions on butt fucking? Is that what you
No,
wanted?
no,
My
I
opinions
just
on
I
anal
don't
or
know. I don't know.
RFK.
RFK. Yeah.
I
You
do know Dr. HIV. She is very intelligent and tends to disagree with RFK all the time, contrary to popular rumors.
Right.
And don't forget about Dr. Oz.
I'm just excited with Trump's consistency. We got three appointees with sex offense history. We have a fracking expert running the Department of Energy, so he's raping the earth. And then we have a fraud nominated for the Department of Education who lied about having a degree in education. So it's just, it's just business as usual.
all of it is, we have a pedophile, a rapist in the CEO position. So what should be surprising there?
Well, we have a pedophile rapist as president. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I mean. But
catch as
so
catch can.
if Epstein were alive, he would probably be secretary
The
of his
ambassador
daughter.
to Israel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Actually, he'd probably be the secretary to the Interior, but the interior would be for young ladies. It would be their interiors.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, that opens up a whole yoni.
Yeah. Now I'm confused. And maybe you being more of a political person than I am, and I'm pretty.
I don't know. Those who know don't say. Those who say don't know. But go for it, Matthew.
Well, you have RFK Jr. Health and Human Services.
You know,
right?
I know his first cousin, Earl. Earl's great. Earl Skakel. I did comedy with Earl for 20 years.
Yeah. He's Michael's brother, right? Michael Skakel's brother, right?
I don't know his brother's name. I really only just tell jokes with Earl up at the Comedy Store.
Right.
Always fun to see him.
So we have RFK Jr. Health and Human Services, and we got Dr. Oz. What's CMS? What is that? Like, I don't even know what CMS stands for. But why do we need two health people? And one of them's not a doctor and has no health experience at all, and the other one is
Dr. Oz has actually been involved. I've skipped out.
He's nominated for head of CMS, which I don't know what CMS is.
Well, let's look it up. Can anyone look it up?
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. What we're talking about.
Yeah,
you know, I forget all the acronyms, etc. There are a lot of acronyms.
Yeah, and I don't know why we need both. Why we need two. And neither one of them really all that qualified.
Well, you know, all the faster to dismantle what NIH has spent so long building.
Right.
This is CMS. It says Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. Services.
Well, of course, he's gonna cut all that out. I'm gonna be tossed out in the street. My social security is gonna be.
You're not old enough. You're not old enough to worry about such things.
Well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, GD turned 65 just in time to have his Social Security and Medicare cuts. So.
Yeah. Happy birthday, GD.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm gonna have to rely on the
happy birthday. We're taking your benefit. All that money you saved.
Enjoy it while you can.
We're stealing it from you and giving it to billionaires.
Look, I'm just hoping that they give me my passport. I applied for my passport 2 days after the election was announced. And they have my original birth certificate because I have misplaced my passport before in Berlin, Germany. And I just want to go. I just want to be able to go when I want to go. I think it's a good thing. When you got to go, you got to go.
You know, speaking of billionaires.
Doesn't enjoy but fucking. I lube up myself and allow an elderly man to emasculate me and finish inside me who wants to go to Mars. That's where I staple my nuts while my nipples are electrocuted.
Well, he's got a lot of budget for fancy toys.
You're always making me white every time you play those videos. I come back whiter.
It's only because all the blood rushes to your crotch every time Elon Musk gets on there and starts talking dirty.
All I can think about is the song Muskrat Love.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the nomination for a Department of Education. Secretary of the
what's her name? All I know, I think
she's a wrestler or something, right?
Sure.
Linda McMahon. That's Vince McMahon's wife. Vince McMahon, who's also a known sexual predator. And
hey man, get them all in. This
is where I'm confused. Exciting. Like I thought they were getting rid of the Department of Education, so she's going to be secretary of a department that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I think what the move is going to be is to privatize education so that anyone that can't afford a good education won't get one, because the Republicans' base is primarily operated by white male men that have not attended college. No offense to those that know what's going on, but a lot of them have been indoctrinated into a very anti-Semitic, homophobic conspiracy rabbit hole where the Jews are going to take over the world and enslave us all, which actually I'm very excited about because I intend to sell myself to one of my Jewish friends. I think that we'll work out a good deal. I'm very good at cleaning homes. It'll be a good time. And then the trans movement is designed to sissify our country and turn our men into sissies that can't fight. And I told my brother that's fine because I can, but
I thought that was the water that was turning them gay, and since I have well water,
it's the frogs.
Oh, that's the frogs. The frogs are going gay by water.
I'm going to propose a pay-per-view fight between, because I know a trans woman who is very, very good fighter. A fight between her and Tucker Carlson. All my money will be on her, just because she got her dick cut off does not mean she can't still fight.
I got into a private party in Berlin that was a 24-hour party for these 7 filmmakers who had filmed Berlin for 24 hours around the clock, and then they edited everything that they did to match up to the 24 hours. Very German, very mechanical, very specific. And then the VIP room didn't have me on their list, even though I had been running around with actor Tim Williams, and I was supposed to meet him up there. And this beautiful, gorgeous, 7-foot-tall trans person in one of the hottest disco skirts I've ever witnessed in my life was like, "That's okay, follow me." And I did, and she got us in, and I would hide behind her in a fight in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a woman
I also want to know where she got that skirt, but
I don't even know how to describe it. There were 2 competing trans people coaches. Like they were helping men make the transition. 2 women who had groups of men that they were helping transition. But these men who were transitioning they treated these coaches like the gurus or something, and they drew lines of like teams, and they were doing battle. Like even though they were becoming women, they still had this male inclination to just.
Well, there are Amazons and female warriors in every culture, and I certainly get in the mood to fight.
Yeah, so I was witness to a rumble.
It's Trans Remembrance Day, FYI.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I learned that from comic Valerie Pascal. I always think that I'm mispronouncing her name and then pronounce it the other way, so I'm just going to pronounce it both ways. She's produced a couple of my hour-long specials. Fantastic person. She's on Facebook. Valerie Paschal. She's running a fundraiser today for Trans Remembrance Day.
All right, remembrance.
Yeah.
People. That's a funny thing. Like it's not just like awareness.
Ed Wood. I don't know if he was trans, but he definitely liked women's sweaters. The filmmaker.
All right. Yeah, but remembrance feels like a memorial type of thing rather than an awareness type of thing. It's a remembrance.
A lot of people died for expressing themselves. That's for sure.
It could be a lot of everyone that's committed suicide, who's been bullied into, taking their life by being trans.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and it also could be, remember, some of your best friends and neighbors may be trans.
Yeah. Right.
I forget that
in indigenous culture, there's more than 2 genders. There's 5 genders in many indigenous American cultures. So
now let's talk about the war over where you can pee in the Capitol building. There is a trans congressperson. I guess it's a woman, right? But the biggest argument for the Republican Party is now I'm not going into the bathroom with her. It's the pee battle. This is the biggest issue of the incoming Republican Congress.
Well, you're in trouble now because she's got to go somewhere. So
right. If you don't want to,
she could be like the rest of Congress and just piss all over us.
If I was her and I'm not, I would just say, okay, I'll use the men's bathroom, and that'll really fuck.
I'll just pee on your fucking desk.
Yeah, how about that? I'll just pee on Trump again. How about that? Where is that tape anyway?
That's what I was going to bring up. Nancy Mace is so fucking laser focused on where this person is going to pee. Let's talk about pee. You support a guy who apparently hired 2 women to pee on a mattress that he was going to sleep on. That's and that tape. That's a real. That was a real thing. And the reason I know it's real is because remember when the Grab Them by the Pussy tape came out? There was DEFCON 5 in his campaign where they were all talking about how we're going to deal with this. And Hope Hicks went to him and said, there's this other tape where they're saying Putin has tape of you having girls pee on a mattress so that you could sleep on it.
They're all supposed... Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
He told her, make sure you get on that. Make sure Michael Cohen gets that tape and destroys it. I'll take care of the grab him by the pussy thing. So he told her. Now, if that tape if he never did that, he would know that tape couldn't possibly exist. To tell her, you go, and she testified in front of the Senate about this. Yeah. He told her, you go take care, make sure that tape gets destroyed. That's not the actions of an innocent man. This is somebody who knows the incident actually happened. I didn't realize he was taping it, but make sure Michael Cohen gets that tape and destroys it. That verifies that it actually had to happen. Because if it never happened, he would just say, "Get the fuck out of here."
I think they should all pee together. I think we should all make them go in, bipartisan and all, just whip it out, sit down right next to each other, Democrat, Republican, work it out right there in the bathrooms, man, woman, they.
All we are saying.
That's right, GD.
Give Piss a chance.
Everyone.
Give Piss a chance.
Everybody's talking about Congress and anime. Sorry.
Go for it, GD. I love that. No, really, we spend a lot of time being very concerned about our sexuality with pronouns, and many people don't even remember other people's names, and now we're adding pronouns, and we're always concerned about bowel movements and where they're going to go, but we don't spend a lot of time thinking about what's up here or identifying ourselves by what's up here, and that's really sad. It's
I can't imagine
sad.
Just think, and let's just assume like the United States is going to last long enough for this to happen. But imagine being a school kid 100 years from now and reading about this stuff in history books. How will it be written up? I mean, the great piss battle of 2024 or whatever. We hear about, the stuff, the Great Compromise and all that kind of stuff. Imagine how they're going to write this in history books. It's
the dark ages of America.
Yeah.
But the thing is, here's the problem with the history books. It wasn't too long ago, if you went to a concert and the ladies' restroom was very, very busy, the women used the men's room while the men were in there.
That is correct.
They just had to have somebody stand guard over their stall.
Still happens in bars all the time. I mean, in the rock bars that I play in, that still happens. If the line for the ladies' room is too long, they use the men's room, and they don't care who's in there.
Absolutely. When you gotta go, you gotta go. You get your passport, and you.
If I were a woman, I'd feel much more nervous or peeing in the same room with an openly male Hell's Angels.
Oh, I would too. Randy,
the guy in a dress.
Randy Bick, the manager for Maximini, comedian Maximini, he posted on his social media a photograph of, I think it was, it was Columbus, Ohio. He was in Columbus, Ohio recently, just like the neo-Nazis. And he was flying out and he took a photograph of an airport bathroom that had men, 2 signs, like on the outside and then on the atrium when you enter, it had an entrance and an exit. And then on the right side, the signage read, shelter for severe storm area. And do I feel safe going into the men's bathroom for severe weather? No, I don't. I'll be right up front. But I have trained in Aikido for over 20 years because I get grabbed and touched so much. And there are so many predators. That is not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
They like to be called bookers. Thank you.
Let's talk about comedy because
Let's do that.
Ron Kane has this theory that I actually agree with that, and I don't know, but the comedy has never been so right wing, and more people are just turning right wing. Is it all about the grift, or is it all just people who are afraid to call out power, or they just I just want to I want to succeed, and that's where the money is right now. What is? And first of all, do you agree with the premise that comedy is making a hard right-wing turn?
I agree that everyone's making a hard right-wing turn, or at least, sucking up enough to strike a bold neutral. It always happens because now they're in charge of everything. And people that are trained to be part of the chain are going to look at who's in command, and they're going to frame themselves accordingly and not step up to protest. I've heard well-known comics recently at the New York Comedy Festival making sweet comments about Elon Musk and how they shouldn't have doubted him. I've heard Adam Gable, one of my favorite comics, is opening apparently at Give a Hoot Comedy Club for a Trump-loving comedian. And, it doesn't really matter. Comedy's kind of always been right-wing to me. I mean, there's a lot of sexism and misogyny that goes on in comedy.
Well, let me just push back a little on that.
Please do that.
My perspective on this, I'm old enough to remember Richard Nixon being in power, and that pushed a lot of comedians to the left, and we saw like Richard Pryor and George Carlin leading the way during that. And then when Reagan came into power, we were going hard right as a country, but people like Bill Hicks and like very left-wing comedians started to kind of be very influential. So
okay, I'm pushed. I consider myself pushed. It didn't take that much.
Yeah, no.
Liz, you're such a pushy.
I am a pushy bitch. I wear that proudly. You show up on time when I produce an event, FYI.
Amen. Amen, a woman, amoeba.
Thank you.
So yeah, I don't know. I do see more comedians far right than I've ever seen in my life, and it feels just like a grift, like the Russell Brand thing. Russell Brand was a leftist until he saw there was money to be made on the right, and now
there was recently just like a religious expert who was Muslim who is now hopped onto the Christian train, but he's still in the patriarchal Abrahamic religions. Joe Rogan did a hippity hop at the last minute, and I really enjoyed working with Joe Rogan personally. But they tend to be a bunch of wounded little boys that don't want women to have equality because they don't know what that would wind up looking like. And they're afraid of their own, inclinations toward sexuality. And so they'd rather just hide in one category because they're quite unsure of themselves.
I think a lot of these young bros lined up to cock block themselves. And like I've said on this show, the hot stock tip to get is Grindr. Grindr is going to be so popular next year with these conservative bros. So many mouths are going to get emptied into and used. I think we're going to see a huge increase of TMJ.
Look, I do know that my allies are gay men. I've been watching the gay TikTok, and they are proud and loud and telling these boys what they're going to do. They're going to rat on every gay log cabin Republican that comes to them. It's their body, but it's their choice. And then they're going to marry all of us straight chicks, apparently, because gay marriage will be illegal. And they're going to go back to the lavender wedding. And when I come home from a hard day of work, I will get a face mask, a glass of wine, and someone to watch my favorite TV programs with. So I'm not mad. It looks like a pretty good trade.
The homophobe in me wants to put out a disclaimer here. I have TMJ all my life and never have sucked a cock yet. So I just want that out there. That there's not necessarily a correlation between cocksucking and TMJ. Well, my ex-wife.
Start with a banana. Start with a banana.
Well, that's true because I've only had one cock in my mouth.
Oh God, no!
It was mine, and I was a teenager.
Wow, well done, GD. You have met a male fantasy that few can do.
Yeah,
I know tantric yoginis.
I didn't know if it could be done. It was just like it's like an experiment. It's like, can I really? They told me to go suck myself. Can I do that? And I said, wow, I could. Okay.
And you're one of the few that can. Oh, so I know so many men jealous of you right now.
Not now. When I was a teenager, not now.
Right.
I'm in my 60s.
You did. You have that.
I'm just trying to figure out if that's gay or not.
See,
right? That's like self-love.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's still.
I don't know.
You're
If
still sucking a
not
dick.
homosexual. It's more like omnisexual or something. Or,
well, I mean, I guess it's. I mean, yeah, it's omni. I don't know, man.
Really?
Listen, I'm a straight white dude. This shit's confusing
It's
for me.
It's the same as masturbating, but you're masturbating with your mouth. That's all.
See,
you're like, oh, if only this mouth. This mouth is so velvet. I bet it belongs to Elizabeth Taylor.
If my best friend needed a hand job and he was paralyzed from the neck down, perhaps drunk enough I'd help him out. But I would never be able to get to the point where I would be able to say, here's a hand job with my mouth.
Well, why couldn't you help him out when you're sober? Because he's your friend and you love him.
Right.
Because I don't even barely like touching my own, let alone anyone else's.
What is the stigma? So you jerk them off doesn't make you gay. Talk to the members of Narcotics Anonymous. They'll tell you that all of the dick sucking they did for cocaine didn't count. You did it for your best friend.
See,
just be like, hey, buddy, I know that you have your way of doing it, but let me show you some techniques that I think.
See, it's not that being around it doesn't bother me. I could even be in the same room as it, and it wouldn't bother me. But just the act of doing it, Here's the thing: I've been at cock level my whole life, and at no point have I ever been inclined enough to be like, it's just not a thing. So,
Steven, I think the problem you're having here is linguistics, okay? Because you're saying you could not give a hand job with your mouth, and you're confusing the roots of the word mandible and manual, okay? Mandible and manual, they're two. Even though the words they start off with the same root, they're not the same thing. So you would not be giving a hand job with your mouth. That's not how that works.
The only way it would
you can only do a hand job with your hand.
Right.
A foot the only way it would really complicate things. Fetishists.
Well, if you find out the guy was actually lying about being paralyzed and really had full use of his hands, like
Well, that's the thing is that I wonder how many of these anti-trans, anti-LGBTQIA people are actually victims of male rape in their childhood, which is never spoken about. That's the taboo. It's almost like it's okay for women to get raped because we're weak, but men do not discuss. The majority of men don't discuss.
I bet it's a 50-50 draw between people who have untreated sexual assault in their past, and then the other half is just deeply closeted homosexual men who are so upset that other guys can be free enough to do it, and they're angry because nobody will like me that I know if I'm gay,
we're already starting to see them move into our hometown. I do believe that I was introduced to one of our freshman representatives who is highly closeted. He was very proud of himself at the round robin, wearing his spring green tie with roosters all over it. It was all I could do not to say nice cock tie, cuck. But he said nice tie. He said, thanks, I'm on the egg committee. I was like, oh, you GOP people are so concerned about eggs. You just want to control them all, don't you?
GOP
from the hen to the human.
GOP stands for gay. Oh, probably.
Yes. Right. Yes.
I posted a thing on Facebook the other day about the GOP version of Christianity. And it basically, it was just basically everything opposite of what Jesus supposedly taught. And one guy just came back to me, he said, doesn't it make you more retarded? His words. Doesn't it make you more retarded that you backed Bernie Sanders and AOC? It's like, first of all,
Bernie was awesome. Don't get me started on Bernie.
Your dopey socialism is what got Trump elected. It's like,
I was really angry with the Democratic strategists for using the word socialist, and let me be bold and arrogant here. I know political majors don't really have a lot of imagination. They get their terms, they stick to those terms. Commie means commie, socialist means socialist, Democrat means Democrat. Then you have a little bit of hybrid with the Democratic Socialist. But socialism has turned into such a bad word. I kept encouraging people while Bernie was running to say sustainable capitalism. And all of these dogmatic intellects with their manifestos kept telling me, but you can't have sustainable capitalism. And I said, you can if you invent it. Think about it.
It's not, it doesn't even really have to be invented. Teddy Roosevelt
the New Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This idea of capitalism with checks and balances so that capitalism can't just run amok and just, just serve the greedy and all that kind of stuff. Capitalism can work as long as you put guardrails on and checks and balances so that it doesn't become, just chaos.
Let me say two dirty words. Ralph Nader says that the capitalists or that the Democratic Party started going down when they walked away from the New Deal Democratic philosophy and started taking corporate money. Yeah. And really that's what we're dealing with. The corporations didn't like the way the Democratic Party was moving, free healthcare, women's rights, the Equal Rights Amendment. If they publish that, it will cost corporate America more money than it did to free the slaves. So they want the businessman in charge. That's, what I believe at any rate. I could be wrong.
You can have sustainable capitalism. You can have free healthcare and not wreck the insurance companies. Okay, right? The thing is, all they want to know is how do they make revenue? That's all they care about. So
and find another way to make money. I mean, really, why do you have to cling to your way of making money? Right. Capitalism's supposed to inspire innovation. Every day I have to worry about how I'm going to make money. I get cast in a movie. Someone gets sick in that movie. It gets canceled. I'm like, where am I going to make up that paycheck? Do I sit there and cling to that role? No, I go out and I find new ways of working things out. And it's really sad that many people are entrenched in their way of doing things.
Yeah. I agree. And coming back to that meme about the Republican Jesus, I didn't mention Bernie Sanders or AOC or socialism in any of that. Jesus was the guy who was mentioning socialism.
But Jesus.
All I was pointing out is the hypocrisy of the Christo-fascists who want this America is a Christian country. No, it's not. But if you want a Christian country, follow Christ and his teachings, not this phony Christ that you've invented who wants to get rid of everybody.
I think you misheard them. I don't think they said Christian company. I think country. I think they said Cristo country, like in the Count of Monte Cristo. That's what they want. They don't want.
I thought they meant crystal country in terms of crystal meth. They seem to all be on a lot of meth or alcohol.
Or crystal knocked. Yeah.
Fentanyl. I'm so excited that the drug dealing will be done directly out of the White House. That list in the White House pharmacy that went out with the morphine and the fentanyl and the oxytocin, that was amazing. That was an amazing list of drugs, and they're all going to walk back in there and open up that shop. I mean, we used to have a drug market that you could drive through just a couple blocks behind the U.S. Capitol, but now maybe they'll make the White House pharmacy free for us all, and we can just go by and pick up our morphine and our fentanyl, like all of the people running our country are on.
Finally, no more Medicaid approvals. I can just go to the White House and pick it up.
Excuse me. I have a headache. I need some fentanyl. Who's doing fentanyl in the White House, and who's doing the morphine? There was a lot of morphine.
We have Matt Gaetz. We have video of Matt Gaetz doing cocaine on the House floor. Our next Attorney General.
I mean, aren't they all on cocaine?
Yeah, but no, we don't have them on videotape actually doing it on the House floor.
Is there really footage of him doing that
Yes,
on the House floor?
I should find it and share it.
Yeah.
But yes,
When is his confirmation meeting going down? I want to be there. I haven't
a
looked
good
up any of
question. I don't
his
even know what
confirmation
any of
I
shit.
think they're trying to bypass the whole confirmation thing. They're trying
Yeah,
to do it all by
they are
That's
desperately
right, because they'll know
trying.
I'll show up.
Well, they want 17 to be the new 30, so And wait, I think I have some audio of Matt.
Oh my fucking god!
Been there before.
Ron's favorite phrase this morning is 17 is a new 30, and I'm still trying to figure out what it means.
Did they actually say that? Is this like some sort of age of approval thing?
No, Ron is just he's like a pit bull. He gets into something and he's not going to let it go.
I'm doing my best not to pick up the news, but I live and I am who I am. So I always hear tidbits of the news. I got kicked off of Twitter for tagging Netanyahu in Nancy Pelosi's post about his speech being an abomination. And I just wanted Bibi to make certain that he saw it. Because I feel the same way about the mass industrial slaughter of kids. But I don't know where I was going. I mean, it's just such a shit show right now.
Well, you're turning to a BB and you made a left turn. You made a left turn at BB, if that helps get you back on track.
I got kicked off of Twitter. Yeah, I'm doing my best just not to watch the news. I was one of the core organizers, one of the 150 core organizers that put together the protest against George Bush. And that was a very intense experience. And I was watching several different channels of news and skimming several different newspapers to try and figure out exactly what was going on or exactly what the propaganda was for the day. I mean, I'm aware that, most newspapers have their headlines checked. One of my close deadhead friends, her father's job was to fix headlines.
Wow.
That was his job, and he would fix a word or two here and there because that was what they needed the perception to be moved toward.
All right, we got Matt Gates on the screen. Let's just watch. You tell me what's happening here.
Yeah, that was a bump.
That looks like a bump.
Hardcore.
Yeah, a little bump for the Lord.
Maybe it was his Coke on the White House floor.
Yeah,
I was guessing it was Biden's.
Over and over. You see him take out his little thing. He just takes shoves a little up his nose, puts his thing back in his pocket.
With all this stuff, I've actually been like re-energized as a comic because of just how dumb these bros were and just how simp-like they are, that comedy is, you point out the wrongs, you speak truth to power, and just to see comics line up with Donald Trump, it's just embarrassing. And it's like, how can you even call yourself...
It is embarrassing.
How can you even call yourself a comic? And especially like the softback Joe Rogan, who kowtowed to him because he couldn't handle the pressure of
Joe didn't look too happy hugging Trump when Trump was at the UFC fight the other day.
Well, the owner has got to be.
I think he looks thrilled because he even looked like he said, "I'm like really happy for you," is what it looked like he said. And honestly, I kind of blame Joe Rogan for this super right swing that comedy took anyway, since Austin, Texas kind of became since Austin became the center of comedy in the U.S. at the moment.
I don't
think it's the center. I beg to differ. I don't think it's the center. It may come up as a center, but the LA crowd and the New York crowd will give them the beat down. And then look at how many people came up in DC.
I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that
I
at all.
think Westminster, Maryland is the center for comedy in the country, but that's just
But it just seems like as Rogan started to take his right swing, and then Gillis fell in line and moved to Austin, and then Theo Vaughn, and then everybody that was taking this right swing all focused there. And then
you think Theo Vaughn took a right swing? Did he back Trump?
I think he was.
I don't think he did. He was.
He's
Really,
kind
you
of
do?
all over the place, but I don't know
He
if
is
he
kind of
can
all over the
comprehend
place.
what he's doing half the time.
He's
So.
very stupid. And most comedians are not really stupid, but he's really stupid. I've
I
never.
don't know about that. I mean, you got a lot of people that move to Hollywood from the Midwest and they don't really know what's going on and they don't pay attention. They're just looking at whose butt they need to kiss up the chain to get where they're getting to go. And then they become, for the government, useful idiots. And they feed them an article and they read an article and they think they know.
That's fair enough, but I feel like Theo Von, you could probably fool like a dog with throwing a ball trick, and feel where'd it go? That's Theo Von for me.
I will say there's times I've heard Theo Von say things where I go, okay, maybe a lot of the time he's just playing a character. Because there's times when he talks and he doesn't sound like the crazy moron that he sounds like a lot of the time. So
you have to be very smart to get in the tax bracket that Theo Von is in. There's a certain amount of intelligence that you
a really good character.
No, I know lots of. I'm somebody who's very close to me is a multimillionaire, worth a lot more than Theo Von.
Goodbye, Govs.
And he's one of the stupidest people I've ever met. But seriously, I mean, and when you hear Theo Von, like, when Rose